Hello, Lobo fans. Welcome on set of your Lobo Coaches Show. I'm your host, Robert Portnoy, with the women's basketball coach at New Mexico, Mike Bradbury. Coach Bradbury, it's great to be with you on set for the first time for 2022-2023. First off, Happy New Year to you.
Same to you, Robert. Appreciate it.
How about holidays? What did it look like for the Bradbury family?
Well, we finished the tournament down in Florida. We stayed for a couple extra days to visit some schools down there with my teenage kids.
Right on. So you got back, and then the Lobos got started in conference play as well, but a lot to talk about today. Our first chance to get together. So let's look at the non-conference slate overall. I know you guys played a really tough schedule.
Yeah, it was challenging. A lot of really good teams. We lost a couple of close games early. I think that's made us better. We're better off for that. We've won 7 of 9 now, starting to play a little bit better and get a little bit better on offense.
Coach did bring back several players from last year's team with that extra super senior season, but there was a lot of turnover as well. So blending old with new in such a difficult schedule in non-conference, I bet that was tough.
It was. We started a little slower than we wanted to. We just weren't quite ready for that schedule, especially offensively. And we've continued to improve each week, and that's what I'm excited about with this team. If we'll continue down that road, I think we might have some success.
You said, though, that your team might be an elite defensive team. You really like the way they play on that end of the floor?
I do. We're much better defensively than we have been in the past, and it's been pretty consistent throughout the year. Hopefully that continues.
One of the things Coach has talked about with regard to the offensive end for his team is with the different skill set overall of his squad this year, you've had to change things up. Yeah,
we're running some different stuff. We don't shoot the three quite as good as we have in the past. So we're running some different things, and I think we're starting to get used to that.
Interesting, though, that the final non-conference game, the basket opened up for your team.
Yeah, it was. We shot the ball really well. We handled their press and didn't turn it over, and that allowed us to get a lot of good shots. It's
fascinating to me to watch what transition looks like in the contemporary game and how much the three-point shot has become a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Used to, if you were coming 2-on-1, 3-on-2, you were always trying to get a layup, and now a lot of times that's turned into a three-point shot.
It has turned into a three-point shot, and you guys filled it up from three-point land in your non-conference finale against South Carolina State. Nice to see a lot of people get a chance.
Yeah, it was. Some people hadn't got to play, in a few weeks, and we were able to get everybody in for double-digit minutes and let them get some time. And because you never know, you're going to need these people over an 18-game conference schedule at some point.
How do you schedule in non-conference in terms of balancing games like the one against South Carolina State with those tough contests against the Power 5 schools?
Yeah, it's tough. We really scheduled aggressively this year, probably our most aggressive schedule since I've been here. And you try to have a little bit of balance. We didn't really have great balance in that. We kind of overloaded it with really good teams. But we sprinkled in some teams where maybe we could get everybody in the game, and in those games we were able to.
Interesting that scheduling would come in a season where you are kind of in transition.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, like the way it turned out. I think our players handled it very well. We got out of there above 500. Now we're into league play.
Well, let's talk about, before we get to our first break, those players that did come back for you, because it has really turned this season into a year about Shai Magruder and the Duff sisters.
Absolutely, and 3 fifth-year kids that have played a lot of games and won a lot of games. All 3 of those kids are used to winning. They're winners in life, and we're glad to have them back.
Okay, we come back after this timeout. We'll get into our highlights of our first contest. We break down with the Lobos their final game in non-conference as they take on South Carolina State. That's next on your Lobo Coaches Show. Welcome back into your Lobo Coaches Show with the head women's basketball coach at New Mexico, Mike Bradbury. I'm Robert Portnoy. Coach Bradbury's team took on South Carolina State in its non-conference finale. Let's break down the tape with the coach.
Yeah, fast-paced game, straight from the beginning, Robert. They're a team that presses start to finish, and they pressed us all 40 minutes. And against the press, we were able to get out and throw it over the top and get going in transition, and we were able to hit a lot of threes.
there's a missed three, Shy with an offensive rebound and a stick back. And in terms of runouts here, there's one right at the rim.
Yeah, Shy got several of those in this game, and I thought the biggest thing with us was we really moved the ball, shared the ball, and a lot of people got a lot of shots. They're just throwing over the top again.
Good work inside right there, and Shy is really good at going up through contact, isn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. Shy played really well, all week. She's been playing well. She's been probably our most consistent player.
I've seen already here early a couple of skip passes. You're really good in the half court of throwing it over the top to find one of those open players.
Yeah, in this particular game, that's kind of what they were giving us, and that's what I said, we were moving the ball. And when we do that and we share the ball, it's 4 passes and a layup on that possession. That's when we're really good.
There's an excellent dig, help side defense right there, and then you get out in transition.
Yeah, Jalen Bates has missed a few games. She's been hurt. She came back and played really well in this game. Good freshman from Albuquerque.
Pretty savvy on the finish there, too, in a 2-on-1. Showed the ball with a little pass fake and then laid it in, and now you guys turn defense into offense right here.
Yeah, we kind of stepped it up a little bit and trapped the ball screens there for a few minutes to try and speed them up. Jalen Bates to Magruder again in transition.
The early offense, I guess if they're going to keep pressing you and the early offense is there, you're going to take it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how we play. If we're going to get a good look from somebody that can make that shot, then we're going to shoot it every time.
Tay just knocked down a 3-ball there, and then another deep one here in transition.
Yeah, this was all against the press, and Tay shot it well, but VNA Cumber and Paula Reus really shot it really good in this game. Got a lot of good looks at it.
Is this the kind of shooting that you expected that you could see from VNA Cumber once she started to get consistent minutes?
Yeah, I think she's playing with a lot of confidence right now, and you can just see it in practice, and then it translates into the games. She's really shooting it good right now.
Well, in terms of the way that this can be, kind of contagious, like a couple people get one to go down early, the basket looks big, everybody starts to feel good, and my goodness, 18 of them before it was all said and done.
Yeah, it can be contagious. And unfortunately, as you know, Robert, it can get contagious the other way too. Now tonight was was a good day for us. This is good to see when Jalen Bates gets going in transition and playing with some confidence. That's a freshman that we're going to need later on in the year to help us.
You teach that in terms of the transition, that jump stop there at the nail. You can do a lot of things from that position, can't you?
Yeah, Jalen's really good. Sometimes she over penetrates, and we've been talking about that and working on that. Her maybe pulling up a little quicker in transition.
Well, she sure looked good pulling up and knocking down that short 15-foot jumper in the break, off the bounce. It was nice. And now, just what we talked about, Shy's so good through contact, a chance for an and one there.
Yeah, a little sloppy there. Shy digs it out of there, and B hits another 3.
So we were talking about this during our first break, Coach. 18 3-balls in this game. So that ties the third most in a game since you became head coach, and you were remembering a couple of back-to-back games from last season.
Yeah, we had a couple games there in a short span where we hit 21 and 19, and this kind of reminded me of one of those games where everything was going in.
And a game here where you were able to get everybody a chance, essentially. Ulda Joachim even got into the contest. Anaya got minutes. Everybody got a chance. Yeah,
and it was good. Everybody needed to get in game. They've been working hard and practicing hard, and they need to get in a game and get a little bit of reward for their hard work. And we were able to do that in this game and hopefully build some confidence moving forward. Coach talked about the way the team practices, and that's something when you blend new with old, the way a practice looks and the way they compete with each other and against each other, it's not a given how that's going to turn out. How has this team come together and in terms of their growth? Well, I think it's been good. I think our chemistry's good. I think everyone gets along, but they also compete at a high level. And I think everybody on the team is genuinely happy when someone else does good.
So the Lobos finished off non-conference with the big win over South Carolina State. In terms of that being the final preparation before you went into league, how did it look?
Pretty good. We got out of the whole thing 8-5. We played really good in the last 6 or 7 games of the non-conference. Our offense started to get better. Our defense stayed consistent. So, best you can be with 5 losses, we were pleased with that.
Okay, it's time for the Lobos to get into league play. We look at their opener after this timeout. We're back on your Lobo Coaches Show with the women's basketball coach at New Mexico, Mike Bradbury. So the Lobos have 5 in double figures. They take down South Carolina State in their non-conference finale. It's time for league play. The Lobos and Air Force from the legendary pit. And Coach, it was kind of fun. You guys were on national television on CBS Sports Network.
Yeah, it was great. I think it's been quite a while since that happened with a home game in the pit, and it was exciting. Had a great crowd. We were able to get going from the beginning. Yeah, it was great.
Air Force is always difficult, aren't they, Coach? And you've talked about it, how physical, and these games kind of are grinders.
They are. They're so good defensively. They play so hard. They're tough to play against. Got a lot of respect for Air Force. It seems like every time we play, the games are really, really close, and this one was as well.
So Shai Magruder coming off 23 and 8, 23 points, 8 rebounds in the non-conference finale against South Carolina State. She was tremendous in this one again, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shai needs to be this consistent and play this way and be consistent about it. She's a tremendous player, tremendous talent.
You guys get a little transition bucket right here. Was there a lot of that against Air Force?
Not a lot, but we did when we got them turned over. We forced a couple turnovers and then got a couple baskets in transition. We got down early and then made a big run at them here to close out the first quarter and then to start the second quarter. After that, it's been, half-court offense. They do a good job of getting back in transition. And we were just, really having to execute in the half court. For the most part, we were able to do that in the first half.
There's a good run out by Shai. Yeah, I was thinking about this. You hit 18 threes in your last non-conference game. Then the opportunities, you just don't get as many possessions in a game like this. It's totally different.
Yeah, and it's a total different way to play and how to play. Big basket there to end the half. Put us up 12. Nia Ogman got some penetration. Shai was able to clean it up.
Now they came out with a nice little run at you here in the third quarter.
Yeah, they tightened it up and got it to 4 by the end of the third quarter. We kind of lost our what we would call urgency defensively, and just wasn't playing with the same aggressiveness and urgency as we did in the first half.
And I was going to ask you that. You've talked about your team being a good defensive team. When it's good, why is it good? And then when it's not, what goes off?
Well, our attention to detail is good. We're following the plan, and you can just tell we're locked in. Like here, we just lose a man that we were guarding with the ball. Now, good response here to start the fourth quarter. After they cut it to 4, we come out. Shai gets a couple of quick baskets, a couple of drives, to get the separation back, and now we get it back to 10. And are able just to play from there.
Are those called scenarios there where you're getting, Shai the ball out around the elbow, that kind of thing? Give her a chance to drive the rails?
Yeah, the 2 drives were, nice back cut there from Amaya Brown. We were able to keep it between 10 and 15 here the rest of the way. Big 3 here to kind of seal it. But yeah, the 2 drives from Shai were set plays.
Very good high-low action right there, and Shai got lost on the baseline, was able to convert, and one more corner tray.
Yeah, Tay hit a few late there and able to get some separation.
Nice to show off. your shiny building and a great crowd. I mean, the crowd for women's basketball for the Lobos it's some of the best in the country, just flat out. To put that on the national stage, pretty cool.
It was. Our kids were excited. I think our fans were excited, and it was good for them to get out, play well, win a game, and it be on TV.
So she puts back-to-back games together, 20-plus points. She goes for a double-double in this one, points and rebounds. Shai Magruder earns Mountain West Conference Player of the Week.
Yeah, well deserved. She's been playing well all year.
We're going to look at that in more detail, break down the stats for Magruder in the final non-conference game against South Carolina State and the conference opener against Air Force, and we'll take a peek ahead at what's next for Lobo women's basketball. We're back to wrap up this edition of your Lobo Coaches Show with the women's basketball coach at New Mexico, Mike Bradbury. I'm Robert Portnoy. Coach Bradbury, before we get into a look at Shai Magruder's fantastic week, just sort of put a ribbon on the non-conference slate that sets you up for that opening win over Air Force to begin Mountain West play.
Yeah, started early, played our first game on the road. That was a tough one. We weren't quite ready to play. And then, home game against Arizona State goes down to the wire, losing overtime. But I think that's where we started to build a little character. And then we started to win some close games. And then we get down to Florida and we play two great teams in Old Dominion and Mississippi State, get a split down there. And we're really competitive against Mississippi State until the final quarter. And I just think overall that's toughened us, hardened us a little bit, where maybe we can get through the rigors of conference play.
I remember when you told me about that trip to Florida, you thought it was going to be a tough road to hoe for your team. So to get that win in the first game was huge, wasn't it? It
was. That's probably the best game we've played all year. They're really good, and they're really good defensively. And offensively, we executed. We didn't turn it over when we got good shots, and when we did, we made those shots. So that was pretty good for us.
Okay, Shai Magruder, the Lobos' outstanding post. She can do it all. 23-8 in the non-conference finale. Then she goes for a double-double in the win over Air Force to start league play. She's Mountain West Conference Player of the Week, Coach.
Yeah, I'm happy for Shai. She's improved so much in her 5 years here. Great kid, full of energy. Just loves life, and basketball has gotten more important to her as her years that she's been here at UNM. I'm just happy for her. She's fun to be around, good kid, nice to everybody, and glad that she's getting some recognition for her hard work.
Second time she's been named Conference Player of the Week in a span of 4 weeks. The numbers over the 2 games, 22 points per game. She shoots 77% from the floor, over 10 rebounds per game, an assist per game, 2 steals per game, and 3.5 blocks per game. Doing it on both ends of the floor, Coach.
Yeah, she's obviously important to us, and when she's locked in and ready to play, she's capable of these kind of games consistently, which we'll need throughout conference play.
And I would imagine, too, with the way that she can be such a force on the offensive end, the more attention she attracts, the better looks for your other players they're going to see, right?
Absolutely. When she's scoring and getting runouts in transition, that really opens up 3-point shots for the Twins and B&A Cumber.
Okay, so Shai Magruder, Mountain West Conference Player of the Week. New Mexico gets its conference opening win over the Air Force Falcons. What about that being the first game of league play against a unique opponent in the Falcons? You get a win against them in front of a national TV audience in Albuquerque. As you look moving forward, it was kind of odd that you started with a bye to begin league play.
Yeah, it just happens. I mean, I don't know how that happened, how it goes and how it's scheduled, but it was our time to start out with a bye, and we didn't want to wait, so that's why we got a game scheduled prior to Air Force.
So that was the South Carolina State game that the Lobos used to wrap up non-conference play, then the win over Air Force. How do you feel your team is coming together now that you're looking to get into the meat of the league schedule?
I think we're gelling. I think that part of it's good. We just have to continue to improve offensively and continue to be able to move the ball without turning it over so we can get quality shots. When we get quality shots, our percentages are good. It's when we start forcing things, not moving the ball, that's when we start to struggle.
When coaches talk about ball movement, a lot of it has to do with pace, doesn't it, Coach? And how quickly you get those defenders chasing.
Correct. For us, everything's about pace. And one, we like to play fast in transition, but even in the half court, we've got to play with pace. Our movement, our cuts, things like that have to be at a high rate of speed.
You've talked about how good a defensive team you are. I can recall past teams in terms of rebounding. That's been something that you guys struggle with. What about this year's unit?
We continue to struggle rebounding the ball. We're a little better than we were. So, it kind of offsets a little bit because we're usually on the plus side of turnovers. So, if we can get those to be even, we like our chances.
By the time you get to league play, rotations start to come into form. Do you feel like you're in a good place there?
I think we're getting close, and it's taken a long time. But I also think some people that haven't played in every game, as the season wears on, Jalen Bates, Kat Van Bennekom, and those guys are going to get more minutes.
You feel like you're in a good place where your depth can help you when you need it down the road?
I think so. I think we'll be able to overcome some things, foul trouble or an injury that somebody's out for a game or two. I like the way that's progressed.
Okay. What do you have coming up here for this next week?
Two tough ones. At Wyoming, at Colorado State. That's a tough trip for us. We had a little success up there last year, but it'll be much tougher. Those are two of the best teams in the league. So it'll be a big challenge for us.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Robert.
That'll do it for us. For Chase Christensen and Allison Weiss and the head coach, Mike Bradbury, I'm Robert Portman. So long, everybody, and go Lobos.